I'm David. It's the Survivor 48 finale, and we are making it to this stream by the skin of our teeth, making sure that all of our settings are correct. But here we are.
I don't know what setting this is. Where's our background?
There we
are.
go.
Oh my gosh. It's a finale. Hello.
Yes.
We're going to go through it. Such a good episode. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.
And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/nerdtainment.
Oh,
First
here
of
we
all,
are.
congrats to Kyle.
Congrats to David. David and Kyle, they have won.
Yes. Kyle was my preseason pick to win.
Yep.
Eva was Sarah's preseason pick to win.
Came in second. Not too shabby for us.
Will never happen.
Never. It has never happened before. Will never happen again.
We often talk about when we like blow the draft out of the water. We're like, oh, it'll never happen again. It might happen again. But this, where we pick the top two preseason,
incredible.
Never gonna happen again.
We crushed Chantel.
Yes.
Who thought that
she actually had foresight in her own way,
yes.
which she picked 6 of the first 7 boots of the season.
She did a different draft. She was drafting the first boots. So good for her on that. Amazing.
Yes.
But we did the other thing. We did the assignment. So yes. I mean, I don't care what you thought about this season. I think that was a really good finale.
Really good. And we're starting with 5 left, right? Because we're coming out of Shaheen's elimination, and this game of chicken between Kyle and Shaheen is finally over, and Kyle has won. And we get this moment between Eva and Joe where they're like, were we duped? And Eva's like, no. Kyle.
No.
Kyle's my guy. He would never.
Not duped at all. And we're like, hee.
And so is Camilla. And she's like, I can't believe they didn't fact check.
Yeah.
Why didn't Joe go to Shaheen and say
what you were supposed to do?
Yeah.
And you didn't do it. Give her Emmy. She says she would like it. I say I would like it for her as well. That was amazing.
She did a great job. Before we get to this no tree mail moment where they have to like do the puzzle lock, I love watching Survivor with Sarah. They're sitting on the beach watching a beautiful sunrise, and Sarah's like, I don't ever want to sit and watch a sunrise. If I'm not asleep while the sun is rising, there's a problem.
If I'm watching the sunrise, I am angry that I am not sleeping. Nothing beautiful about it. Just a little insight on me.
There you go.
Beautiful moment on television.
Yeah, beautiful moment.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go into the jungle, and they're expecting to find tree mail, but it's this podium that they're supposed to read these instructions. Basically, those animal placards that they had planted around all of the camps have been updated with little dots.
Dots. It's not Braille or Morse code.
No,
it is
much simpler.
Just count the number. It's a letter. So they're all running around. They each have their own lock.
Yeah.
This isn't going to turn out to be super exciting because little Miss Lucky,
I know,
who gets everything, gonna figure it out real quick.
Truly, Kyle has all the letters though.
Yeah.
And he can't figure it out. He's like, oh, I got it all, because I guess it seemed like Eva had 5 letters and he had the 6th that she didn't have.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I've got it. And he went to unscramble or to unlock it, and he was wrong.
Just
and
the
then
wrong word.
Somehow Eva got that 6th letter.
But you know who said the word first?
Who was that?
This guy right here. This guy said whatever the word was.
Secure.
Secure. He was like, secure?
Because Kyle's just running through this CRUEES.
Yeah.
And I'm like, secure.
And then Eva was like, secure.
Secure.
And they were both right.
Yep.
Abina, thank you so much for the super chat.
Appreciate it.
That is amazing. I'm glad you liked the winner.
Yes. So Eva has another advantage. We don't know what that advantage is, but we're just both like, what can this woman not win?
She has amazing karma. Yeah. But it's going to have something to do with the challenge. We've seen this before, an advantage for the challenge. So that takes us to this first immunity.
Immunity plus reward. They're going to go to Sanctuary where good things happen, and they get to eat
pasta and chocolate cake. I'm on board for this. I'll fight for this one.
Pasta would be a great reward. Yes. Especially at this point in the season.
Although it's not much of a Sanctuary visit. They don't get to shower or even rinse off.
I know.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah. They booted them out.
Barely the Sanctuary.
It's a very complicated beginning that ends on a huge fire puzzle. this
But
challenge.
one look at that puzzle, and I'm like, oh, that's a challenging puzzle.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's not just anybody is getting that.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be challenging, which makes me think, does Camilla have a chance?
I know. I thought so too.
Well, watching them speed through the immunity challenge, no, it doesn't look like she does not have a chance.
Eva's advantage isn't much of an advantage. It's the moment where like you throw your ball through the thing and then you move it through the cage with the sandbags and then you try to land it in the net and then your numbers pop up. She just gets to place it in the net. And like, as we watched it, a number of people got it in one try into the net. So it's like, this is not really an advantage.
I thought it was a decent advantage. Like it does help, but it's not one that like, whoa, you win the whole thing. There was one advantage where someone skipped the entire, I want to say Genevieve. Somebody got to skip an entire section. And that's like, that's a huge advantage. Yeah. This one was just like a nice mild in the middle advantage. But yeah, as you said, some people were hitting it in one shot. So basically she had the same advantage as a good shot.
And I wasn't bothered by that because I'm like, Eva, you've had enough. Like, it's fine. If you didn't get a great advantage, you're fine.
You're good. You're good.
You still have an immunity item.
Let's say a thank you to Fred.
Fred.
So good to see you.
Thank you for sticking with us.
We love it. Yeah, right? Fred's one of our faves.
And Paul.
Right. Hey, Paul.
Yes.
Here all season long. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Love Paul.
Thank you, Paul. I thought the most interesting part of this challenge was the net because they twisted it.
Oh my God.
And I don't know that we've really seen that before. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but
never have we seen that before. First time.
I've never seen it.
Nope. But
for Survivor first.
Jeff was like counterclockwise. And I even said, I was like, I don't know that I would in the moment.
Yeah.
I could go either way. Clock or counter.
I think Camilla might have been going clock and counter for a while.
Might not have gone there right.
Because she's having a hard time. And she's like, am I doing it right? And Jeff's like, keep twisting.
Keep twisting, girl.
Yeah. So
she's gonna twist there for a while everybody else
is through. Joe's smoking everybody. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Predictable season 48. Like Joe's gonna win immunity again. Of course, Eva's gonna win the advantage, and then Joe's gonna win the immunity. Boring.
Right.
Boy, were we in for it though. But Joe does get to the puzzle first. Then I think it's Mitch, then Kyle. Eva is kind of lagging behind.
A little, she got caught up at one point, but she's gonna slowly get back.
Yeah, but Camilla is really behind.
She's way back there. Jeff's making comments.
Yeah.
She's stuck in the mud.
Yep. And then
everyone's on the puzzle. But like most of them, like Joe was there first, and Joe is like, what is a puzzle? Right? He's like putting pieces.
Yep.
They're not even close to fitting. By a miracle, Camilla has gotten herself out of the mud.
Yep.
She has made it up to the puzzle.
Yep.
And only Eva, I think, has a couple pieces.
Eva had a handful, yes. And then it's no one else Camilla places a piece. Kyle, I think, ends with like 3 pieces placed. Mitch and Joe are both kind of hopeless.
Joe's like looking at the puzzles, looking at his pieces. But yeah, Eva's going to do well.
Yeah.
But Camilla on fire.
On fire. And she has a massive comeback from dead last, getting out of that net.
Right.
To win her second immunity. And we both thought, like, this is the beginning of her end game.
Oh, yeah. I was like this is the
winner. This is how she sails to the trophy.
Right here.
Yep.
I think I stood at that point. I like applauded.
There were a lot of standing ovations.
I stood a few times tonight.
No,
but that was exciting when Camilla came from such afar.
And she's so excited because Jeff brings up again, like, and how about that family of yours who told you not to apply?
She was like, yeah, remember them?
She's like, they're going to watch every single episode wondering if this is the one where I get voted out. And I am never going to get voted out.
Never.
Because now I'm going to fire at the minimum.
Yep.
So then Jeff's like, you get to choose one person to go eat. I thought, couldn't possibly be the most fed woman in Survivor history.
Couldn't possibly be.
Couldn't possibly be Eva.
Especially when you start your sentence with like, I know this person's hungry.
I know this person's hungry.
I'm like, well, that's not Eva.
And they've been talking about pasta for days. And I'm like, even if Eva was talking about pasta, I can't imagine that Camilla would bring her.
It was Eva.
But she does.
It was Eva. Yep. She says Eva, and I'm like, what is the strategy here?
I guess it's like split Joe and Eva up kind of thing. Like,
well,
don't ever leave them together.
Look, if the target is Joe, if this is your moment where you're going to pull out the big move to take Joe out, then separate Eva.
Yeah.
Let Kyle do some shenanigans.
Yeah.
But that is not what's happened.
It is.
She just had dinner with Eva.
She just had a nice dinner with Eva. They had a nice girls' night.
They did.
So if we go to camp first, they're like delusional and laughing.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
And they're just like, this is hysterical that we all did so poorly at that puzzle.
Yeah.
And then they're washing off in the ocean. And then we get a moment from Mitch where I think this was his moment that he thought he was going to make a move.
Yep. He was like, now is the time, you guys.
Kyle, we're going to get Joe out.
This is it. Look, you, me, Camilla.
Uh-huh. This is our destiny.
Joe. In game, here we come.
Yes.
And Kyle's like, you know what, Mitch?
No.
That's not the game I'm playing.
That's not going to be it because I'm not going to sit next to you.
Nope.
It's your time.
Yep.
So reward happens. Again, Camilla's just sort of like tickled pink with herself. Eva says like, it's an easy vote tonight. It's Mitch. And we've heard Eva say that many times when she's at reward, stuffing her face with various desserts and carbohydrates.
Yep.
But this time it is indeed that. And Camilla's like, you know what, girl? Couldn't agree more. She marches her butt back to camp and she's like, Mitch, here's the deal. If I sit next to you, there's no way I'm winning. And he
this is a shift. This
immediately is like crying because he's like, oh my God.
And honestly,
I thought I was working with these people.
I was right behind them. If I had the ability to make tears, I was right there with them because this was a touching moment.
It was hard.
She's just like kindly being honest with him.
Yeah.
I'm going to vote you out tonight.
Yeah, I have to. You're going to beat me.
And
he's like, no, I won't. But like deep down, I think he's like,
what?
I mean, I would like to think that I would.
Would
yes.
like
but you hate to see people come to that realization because it means you're going to go home.
And then he's going to like make, it's going to get around the camp and be like, Camilla told me. And Joe's like, yeah. And then Kyle's like, yeah. And they're all just going to be like, dude, we love you. Everyone on the jury loves you. We're not sitting next to you.
And what's interesting is like, even like, we do hear Camilla acknowledge that Kyle is the biggest threat to her game because they've been playing together the whole time. But now's not the time. She's going to get Mitch. It's time to get Mitch. So Mitch is trying to get Joe. Camilla's acknowledging maybe I should have gotten Kyle, but everyone just rallies around Mitch. And I think we knew this was coming.
I mean, any other season, this would not have happened. Any other season, you would break up Joe and Eva. You've been talking about it forever. It would happen. But this season is different.
Yeah.
And if you say enough times we play a loyal game, you kind of have to do it to the end. So even though I was like, wow, I can't believe we're taking Mitch out right now and leaving two duos in, I get it for this season.
Yeah. And when we go to tribal, I didn't even take any notes. It's just Mitch.
No.
It's just Mitch.
I said openly saying it's Mitch. He's got no regrets. Quickest tribal in history.
Truly.
That's what I wrote.
Like the one takeaway is that Mitch tells Jeff and the jury and us, frankly, that he thought he was with Kyle and Camilla. Those are who he thought his people were.
Yeah.
And so it hurt to have them turn on him in this moment. But that, I think, kind of explains why he wasn't going for the Mary pitch. He wasn't going for the star pitch. Like, we've been shouting at Mitch to make a move and grab an opportunity because we knew that he wasn't in with this 4. And he thought he was.
Right. We knew something he didn't know. I would like to ask him tomorrow if he now has regrets. Should he have made a move earlier?
Yeah.
This waiting because you thought you were in with these people. But, we see a certain edit because they already know the end game.
Yeah.
So we saw Mitch on the outs because that's what that's the end.
Need to show that because he's going home.
That doesn't mean he knows it.
Yep, absolutely. Eva plays her idol for nothing and nobody seems impressed.
No, it's not impressive.
No. But she wants to have that moment in front of the jury of I had this thing and whatever. And then
I didn't have to use it, which fair. You did not have to use it because no one was coming for you.
Right.
They should have flushed that.
Yeah. And then Mitch threw the vote at Kyle. which made Kyle sweat a little bit under the collar.
It made me laugh.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to throw it at Joe. But that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mitch is out.
Yep.
And pretty quickly, we see that Kyle loves these two duos.
Listen, I'm going to say it. We've never seen two duos in the Final Four in Survivor before.
I bet we have, but it's been, I honestly don't know. I don't remember.
It feels really significant.
You should break up duos by now, so this is odd.
Truly, it is like maybe the most public duo in Survivor history, and Kyle and Camilla, a relatively secret duo.
Yeah.
But like as viewers, we're like, we can't believe this happened because breaking up a duo is like classic Survivor strategy. We start with another sunrise. It's Sarah's nightmare.
It's all they have on the island is a sunrise. Here we are again, watching it come up. Eva's like giving us sound. We're just getting sound bites here. Yeah. Let's get to the bulk of it.
Yes.
Camilla is going to come up to Kyle a little early, I thought.
Agreed.
Well, like,
agreed.
Wait till we play.
Literally, you don't have to tell him right now.
But she felt the need to go ahead and get this off her chest.
Yeah.
That if she were to win, she is not bringing Kyle to the end.
No, she's sending him to fire. Because she's saying, we would split the votes.
Yeah.
We've played not exactly the same game, but we played together. We played similar games. How do we really differentiate? So I don't think it's best for my game to sit next to you. And
we need the other person on the jury.
Yeah.
We need the other person to help support
not only
our game.
Am I sending you to fire, but I'm hoping that you go to the jury.
Yeah. She's in her nice tone.
I know she's actually quite respectful.
Yeah. The way we've seen her be honest with other people of like, this is just the reality.
And Kyle says like, I've been thinking about that too. I don't know how much he was.
No, he just started thinking about it.
I think he just said that.
Yeah.
And I think Camilla maybe shot herself in the foot.
I do
by being honest about that.
Right. Because that made him go, oh, she's right. Yeah. Right. Then he saw the truth in it.
And also I think there's you could understandably see a little bit of like a feeling of tit for tat. Well, if she's going to do that to me, then I'm going to do it to her.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She waited.
Put a pin in it.
Just wait. See how the balls fall.
You don't know what position you're going to be in when all's said and done.
See if Kyle maybe wins like he does. Just see what Kyle might want to do.
What case are you going to make now?
You might as well just give it a shot sitting next to him.
Yeah.
Just see.
Exactly. Right.
If you could pull out a win.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that was not the route she
took. We play immunity, which we predicted it was going to be the ball challenge.
David predicted. The motion.
I thought Camilla could win this.
Yeah.
And I made my prediction. I was like, you know what? We might see Camilla win this final immunity. This is a sort of mental acuity kind of thing. I definitely thought she had a really good shot. And I was really shocked because she was so locked in.
Yeah.
We both were watching this like, oh my God, Camilla is so smooth.
Yeah.
She's not frantic. She is gonna pull this out, I thought.
And it's really fun with this. The way that they just sort of do this whole challenge was really fun to watch. And they're gonna last for a while, it seems like. And we do get to 5 balls, which apparently is the max. Jeff reminds us that they've never done more than 5.
Right.
And then Eva is going to be the first to
out.
Sort of drop.
Yeah.
But then Camilla is out.
Yeah.
And we were both like,
shocked.
What?
And then I thought, oh, here we go, Joe again. Because they made a big deal about Joe breaking the record, right? Of 5 immunity wins or tying the record.
Or if he was going to win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Kyle pulls it out and Kyle wins. And I just thought.
You'll take the points? Is that what you thought?
Absolutely thought that.
Yep.
But I just thought like, I don't know at this point between the two of them, who's going to win? Because I thought this first immunity win from Camilla was going to be her just sailing to it, right? And she was like, that was the beginning of her end game surge.
Right. You win. Great. You're done.
Kyle wins. It's like, it could go either way. And how fitting that they've played the game together and are sort of like dominating the end of the game.
And we did not mention that after Camilla says to Kyle, I ain't taking you. Joe is like, hey, Kyle.
Hey.
I don't want to go to fire.
I don't want my fate in this game determined by a spark.
Who are you going to take?
What are you talking about?
Who are you going to take?
Yeah.
And I was like, Joe, who are you going to take?
Shut up.
How dare you ask Kyle to take you?
You're asking me if I'm going to bring you when I know for a fact that you're going to bring Eva.
Are you going to bring me?
Yeah.
If you were like, are you going to bring me? I'd be like, are you going to bring me?
Yeah. Literally.
We would just be in a stalemate. Yeah.
But
are you going to bring me?
Frankly, if I were Joe, I'd be like, I can't be with Eva forever. Bring me.
Oh, he can't do that.
But I'm a villain.
He's an honest.
I'm a villain and he's a hero.
Exactly. Villain right here.
So
at this point, now that we know that Kyle has won, it's like, wait, is he really going to take Joe?
And he is. Because when we get back to camp, he goes up to Joe and he's like, I'm a man of my word. I'm going to bring you. And I think there's a little bit of like, take that, Camilla. Because I really don't think he was thinking about it before she brought it up.
I don't think he was. But this does play well for Kyle because, again, Joe laid out, hey, we're playing an honest, loyal game. So the longer Kyle can play that, it's better for his game.
Yeah.
He doesn't want it to come up that he lied and got his allies out.
No.
So here we are.
So he tells Eva and Camilla very openly, honestly, that they are going to go to fire. And Eva has a really intense practice session on her own in the jungle to the point where she's sobbing. And, you know, we've seen one of her episodes before, so we know how loud it is. And it is really having an effect on both Kyle and Joe.
Yeah.
They're at camp laying down and they can hear it. They can't see her. They can hear her. And Kyle's like, Joe, you have to go check on her.
Yeah.
And Joe's like, I'm going to go. And Kyle's like, remember to say this. Like, they are both so stressed to the point where we hear Kyle in confessional saying, I'm going to put myself in against Camilla. And Joe prayer hands to Eva, please let me do this for you. And I'm like yelling at the television, like, this does not serve Eva. For you to step in and be some sort of hero and take the like stress away from her. Yes, she's going through it and it really is hard to watch, but like she reacts in the same way that I kind of did, where she's like, no effing way are you doing this for me.
Right.
I'm gonna learn.
When someone is struggling or upset or having a hard time, you don't take the plate off of their hands completely. Teach them. I was like, why wasn't Joe over there with her already?
Literally.
Why did you wait for her to have a breakdown? Joe should have immediately been with Eva and been like, all right, let's do this together and get her prepared. So I think this works out the best that it can.
Yeah.
Joe's going to have like a moment with her, show her some tips, get her ready and prepared. And obviously she comes down and starts to feel better.
And she starts to perform. And Joe's like, I am confident that Eva's going to be sitting next to me in the final three. And then we go over to Camilla and she gets her own sort of like hero edit of like making fire. And I kind of thought like, oh, wow, this is a lot of Camilla going into tribal council. Like, is this headed toward her victory? And Sarah was like, well, you just forgot that they did a whole Eva segment. So this is just the Camilla segment.
Whenever the second one comes up, that's usually like the decoy of like, oh, but maybe this.
Right.
When it's really the first one.
Yeah.
But I genuinely thought Camilla was going to beat Eva in fire.
Did you?
I did.
I didn't
don't know why I thought that.
Yeah.
But I thought that Camilla could beat Eva.
We just were feeling the moment for her in her game. And it just felt undeniable towards the beginning of this episode that Camilla was going to make it and she was going to win this season.
Yeah, I know. I was like feeling that like upswing for her, but that's not the way that happens.
No.
So we're going to go to this tribal.
Yeah. Kyle gets a quick moment to celebrate his win. You know, this is one of the most important immunities you can win. And he says he's bringing Joe with him. And the jury looks so shocked.
A little bit of.
They're like, excuse me?
What are you doing? You're
Joe who?
The guy who we think is probably going to beat you?
Yeah.
That
the guy that everybody on the jury has been saying is winning the season.
But inside, Kyle was like, just wait.
Just wait. You don't even know I'm a lawyer yet. You don't know.
Yeah. Yep. But that leaves Eva, who is looking over and being like, these are not the supplies I prepared
She's
with.
Literally already breaking down as she's waiting for Jeff to get the fire thing started. Yeah. Camilla's like, yeah, I'm not surprised I'm going to fire. I know I'm a threat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, I love that confidence.
She said Kyle and I both know we
Yeah.
shouldn't sit next to each other for our games.
Yeah.
And the jury's like, say more.
What?
And she was like, hold that thought.
Nah, so I'm going to save it for final tribal if I make it. Wow, was this just, it must have been tough for Camilla to watch this back because Eva gets a huge fire that doesn't somehow burn through because Sarah said when they were walking to the station, Sarah's like, oh, this one is the bad one because the wind, and it blows the flame, which is when Eva was at, because the wind was blowing towards Camilla, and so Eva and her station would have been blocking the wind a little bit from Camilla's station, but Eva's in the bad position.
Yeah, because Eva was like, you can have purple or whatever. And I was like, wait, I don't think that was the right choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, whoa. All of a sudden, Eva's fire is so huge.
Roaring. Yeah.
Camilla can't even get a spark.
She's getting a lot of sparks, but no flame.
Right.
And eventually she runs out of sparks, it seems.
Eva's roaring fire is like not even close to her rope.
Yeah.
And the jury is like us being like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
She starts to do her panic.
Because it completely sort of flames out almost. It's like a small, teeny, tiny fire again. And she's having to start from scratch.
Joe is over and Kyle are like, it's okay.
And I'm like, don't help her. And Sarah's like, they can talk to her.
He was like, is there a role here? We're like, calm down, whatever, just helping her out. And like Camilla, who is entertaining, is like, wow.
Like, wow, I can't even get a spark.
Can't even. Girl, don't even worry about it.
She's like, my legs are cramping, my hands are cramping. Nothing is working.
Yeah, it really wasn't. And that allows Eva to like get her fire going back again. And then it's like, this is going to snap the rope, which it obviously does. And poor Camilla
never got anything going.
Couldn't get anything.
There was one little baby flame that she just threw more kindling on top of and put it right out. I'm like, oh God.
Way to go, Eva. Amazing.
Yeah, very good for her.
Well done. But I gotta say, I thought whatever duo sat together, the third odd man out had the advantage.
Yeah, because you would split the votes.
Yes.
With a jury of like 8 people, splitting votes, someone might win with, just 4 votes or something, potentially.
So I was excited for Eva. Well done. But I was like, I think you just damaged you and Joe's outcome.
Mm-hmm.
But
she's given her a chance. Giving herself a chance to make it.
We have to go to a final breakfast.
I love these segments that they do now where the jury talks about the players. To me, it was very clear that Shaheen and Camilla were Team Kyle. But Camilla's saying like he has to show us his game because the jury doesn't know, which is a good thing, I think. But at the same time, like he maybe is going in with a little bit of a handicap in this final tribal. People gave Eva a lot of credit. I didn't think that they seemed that they were sort of like, go Eva.
Right.
But not so like, wow, she's a survivor great kind of a thing. And then with Joe, he just tells us again that he wanted to play this game where he doesn't stab anyone in the back. And I'm like, that's what gets you to the final 3 and $0. Like, sorry, I don't think the jury's going to be impressed by that. And they weren't.
Well, some were. We go to the final tribal. I did think this final tribal was fun because it was great. Was bitter or angry. I was worried that people were going to be angry at Joe and Eva for their honest game.
Well, Chrissy was.
Chrissy was definitely like, when are y'all going to go after each other?
This is the time.
What about
enough with the nicey nice?
Joe was like, no, I'm still not going after her.
She said, only one of yous can win.
Only one of yous.
So.
She said it multiple times. One of yous. And Joe was like, look, I'm going to pitch my game. She's going to pitch her game.
I'm not going to take any jabs at her, so stop dreaming.
And he was like, whichever one of us is going to win. And I was like, there is a third person.
Yeah, there is. And Kyle, I think, was because they ask about like, what's the secret move?
Right.
I think Eva had a great moment of like, look at my power without whatever.
Oh, yeah,
safety without power.
Yep,
and
that was
Chrissy
good.
And all of them were like, wow, okay, girl.
Yeah.
And then Eva's like, also the Shaheen vote, and starts to go on about how that was her thing. And Camilla's trying to get in there. And Shaheen's like, well, if I may push back a bit, because I actually wasn't coming for you. I voted for Mitch or whoever it was.
Yeah.
So respectfully, that's not really that great of a strategic move. You actually voted out an ally. And then Camilla tries to come in again, and like there's just this whole thing, and finally Camilla gets her moment, and she's like, Kyle, I would like to give you the floor.
Yeah, Kyle, can you please give me your perspective on this? She's like, this is our moment, Kyle.
Yeah.
She really is like, I'm here. It looked like she had already prepped Shaheen because he was like, I'm right there with you. I get it now. I will say that this is separate. So the secret thing.
Yeah, the secret move was different. Yeah, I realized that.
So Kyle ended up, for his secret, was like revealing he's a lawyer, which I didn't love that as his secret, because I was like, you did this other shady game stuff. Like, that's what I wanted to hear from your secret. But Camilla was like, she was like, don't worry, Sarah. I'm going to make sure that we talk about it. So in this time, she was like, Kyle, please take the floor. And he does do a really good job of explaining this move, with Camilla like saying her part, Shaheen being like, yeah, let me tell you, that is all true. And it was like a mic drop moment.
But what I liked about going back, we're kind of bouncing back and forth, but with the secret move of it all, secret moves are like, they are asking, what did you do that none of us know about? And Camilla knew about Kyle's move against Shaheen. So potentially she might have told the rest of the jury already. So I actually think like using the sort of personal details that people don't know about you as your secret is kind of like a bulletproof way to be like, yeah, this is definitely a secret.
Yeah.
Although he did tell Camilla that, you know, he was a lawyer, so she could have spread that. And he told Joe that he was incarcerated. Regardless, they seemed impressed by these like personal details. He was like, hold my beer, I'm getting my PhD, and everybody's very impressed by her as well.
Yes.
But it really is, you're right. The mic drop was when Kyle just made Eva and Joe it looked like they didn't know it was happening.
Yeah, it proved that they were not in control. I mean, the fact that Eva tried to own this as a, like, I took you out before you got me, which I guess that is how she thought. But then whenever someone can be like, that's not actually what happened.
That's not what happened, actually.
I took this little bit of ammo and I built it up. I added some lies. I got my secret alliance member to do this whole thing with me. And then you're just like, oh wow, I was outplayed.
It's like when Dakota Johnson was like, actually, that's not the truth, Ellen. And that led to Ellen's whole demise. And now here's Kyle saying, actually, that's not the truth, Eva. And
did that start with Dakota Johnson? Okay, we'll talk about that later. Did not realize that. Hello, you're back. Oh my gosh. Thank you again.
Thank you.
It does have an old school feel. I agree.
It really does.
Especially like in the midst of this new era.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, thank you.
David tries to tell a knock-knock joke, and I'm like, you are just so, like,
he's trying.
Stop. And I'm also like, the editors must hate him, because you don't have to include that. Embarrass him like that.
No, he was like, I'm so stern, but then I'm going to crack a joke.
He wants to ask about challenges, of course. Joe gets to talk about the most wins, and Kyle's like, but I got the most important one.
He's like, but not too shabby over here. I mean, all of them won, so it wasn't like one
It honestly wasn't the best question.
It doesn't work.
It's like they all won.
Yep.
So then we go to vote, and we tried to count the votes before.
They
did not go the way we thought it would.
But we were pretty close.
We were close, but I did not. In hindsight, I'm not surprised that Cedric voted for Joe, but we did say he might vote for Eva.
This is what we said about Cedric. We were like, we don't know who he's going to vote for, but he has never voted correctly in his Survivor life. So we know it's going to be for the person who doesn't win. And we were right about that.
We were correct.
But how lovely of him to do that for Joe.
Right, Joe. She goes, Cedric has never voted correctly.
Never. One thing we will definitely get from Cedric is that he is over here in a different world. And we love that about him, because Sweet Joe did get
Sweet
one
Joe
vote.
got a vote, and we love that.
Yeah.
Like, look, Joe, as much as we were like Joe haters. And
no, I was never a Joe hater.
Well, I was just like sick of him.
Oh,
but
no.
He was such a good man and a great Survivor character.
Yes.
The bond that he formed with Eva is iconic, and people will remember it. And I'm glad that he got a little recognition.
I love Joe as a human. I thought he was great television. I did not think he was going to win the game.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this game isn't working.
And that's what I mean by a Joe hater is like the edit really made it seem like he was like the hero of the season and he was going to win. And we heard so many people who were headed to jury be like, Joe's winning this game. And I was like just frustrated by that.
He was the emotional hero.
Yeah, he was the emotional core of the season for sure. Yes.
We're gonna see Mary vote for Eva.
Yeah.
We're gonna see Camilla vote for Kyle. These were pretty expected. We said Mary's gonna vote for Eva. And we also called that Star would probably vote for Eva.
We did. We thought David might as well.
Yeah, I was not sure where David was gonna go.
Yeah.
But I thought it would probably be Eva. That's right. So we were pretty close to
But what we then thought was, oh my God. Like initially, I think we were in like a 5-3 situation.
Yes.
But then we were thinking about a 4-4.
Yeah. We thought it would be.
So when Cedric voted for Joe, we thought, oh my God, it's going to be 1-3-4. And Kyle's going to win by 1 because Cedric voted for Joe and not Eva.
Oh. Did we think that?
We did. Remember that?
I don't remember.
No, you do, for sure. That's what we said.
I believe you,
but
David.
It was 1-2-5 in the end,
okay.
And Kyle won it pretty handily.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited though that it wasn't like one person unanimous, and I'm also excited that we didn't get a 0 vote finalist. Let's love it.
Very satisfying.
And I was very happy for Kyle. I think Kyle did a good job, although we questioned.
Hello.
I almost spun too far. Oh boy. I questioned. I was like, so he had that great mic drop moment with the Shaheen vote, but we didn't see him like talk about his beginning with Camilla and the idol
play
to get Thomas out.
He literally was gonna be gone that week if he didn't have his idol.
But we do get a little bit of that in the reunion here, and I'm glad that we did because I missed that.
Yeah, and I think people were like, the jury was impressed by it. They were like, why didn't you bring that up?
Well, and it's Jeff adds that Thomas had to steal a vote.
Yeah.
And so Kyle and Camilla were like, what? They took out a guy with a steal a vote. Their plan would have been ruined.
Yeah.
But Camilla says, glad I gave you my extra vote. So I wonder if it came up earlier because it wasn't super vital.
Yeah.
It's pre-merge.
Yeah, they may have just cut it from the edit.
Exactly.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I also love the moment in the reunion where Star was like, Camilla would have won if she were sitting in final 3. She is what Survivor's all about.
And there were several like,
people
yes,
like,
yes.
Yeah. So she had the respect of the jury, which she loved to see.
I do love to see that. Yeah. So I don't know. I know that there was like a lull. There were a few boring seasons in the middle there, but remember that first half was so good of this season. I'm talking about this season.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, you said seasons, and I was like, what? But I think you meant episodes.
Episodes, I did.
Yeah.
There were a few episodes here in the center that were lull.
Yeah.
But before that was great.
Yes.
And I think this ending was
the end game was really fun.
Yeah. So I hope. Good God.
Hello.
I cannot stop spinning. Okay.
Oh boy. Okay.
Anyway, great stuff.
So happy for Kyle. So happy for me.
Yep.
As the winner of the draft this year.
Yep. David took it. It was close down here at the end.
Yeah.
Every time Camilla won something or Eva won something. It was
back and forth.
I was getting
points. I wanted to point out, we had, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Sarah and I split the final 6.
Yep.
3-3. Then we split the final 4, 2-2. And Sarah ended up with Eva. I ended up with Kyle and Joe.
Yeah.
And it was a good race this year between the two of us.
I had Eva and Camilla. It was really girls versus guys for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, David was able to pull it out pretty nicely there at the end with Kyle's win.
Yes.
But David is not going to get $1 million. No, he's not.
But I like that sentiment. Thank you.
Yeah, it's lovely. In spirit. $1 million in spirit.
So we were talking about 49, 50. They're going to announce the cast of 50 next week. And we were like, probably nobody from 49 is going to end up on 50. But we were kind of talking about who from this cast would potentially come back for a 50. And we were,
I feel like half this cast could come back for 50.
Yeah.
I love this cast.
But I was thinking like Camilla, Shaheen, like people who made it really far in the game.
Yeah.
And were big characters.
There is a rumor that Say is coming back for 50.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. they are going to announce the cast next Wednesday. I'm sure you saw those previews in the episode.
Yeah.
So we will know the cast of 50 before we know the cast of 49. Even though we did see the preview, but obviously we don't know.
49, nobody cares.
We're
going to watch it.
We will care.
It's going to be great.
But it will be very overshadowed by 50, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
But let's talk about 50 for just a smidge here, because there was voting all season long that we didn't really talk about. I forgot every week.
Oh yeah.
But
I voted a few times.
I missed a couple votes. I voted a couple times.
I voted on like buff colors and stuff that I don't really care about. But I think I did vote on like idols and fire making and stuff that I think makes a difference in the game.
We don't know the answers, and we're not going to probably know the answers until 50 is about to air.
Yeah.
What we ended up voting on. Is it even legit? I mean, some of the questions were like, idols or no idols? And it's like, well, I want idols for sure. But I bet there's a lot of people who are like, well, I don't mean no idols.
But I think they will regret voting for no idols if that's what wins.
Because I think that most people are like, I mean middle ground. Like, give me a couple idols.
What I don't need are all the extra advantages. Steal vote, extra vote, safety without power, knowledge is power. Like, there's just all of that is a little like enough.
Right. I think
that I love idols, and nothing is more satisfying than a good idol play, as proven by Kyle this season.
I love a good idol play. This season didn't have a ton of advantages. Eva just sat on them, didn't use them. So
she didn't need them.
I think that this was a decent middle ground, right? We got like one good idol play, but we didn't have to have everyone playing an idol all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's what people want, is not a ton of advantages.
Yeah.
But the voting of yes or no, all or nothing, that's not what we want.
There were, I think, a fair number of complaints this season about the strength of this sort of like central alliance, and them just sort of picking off the people that they wanted to go one by one. That's the kind of thing that you see happen without some sort of interference in the game, like a hidden immunity idol. So we need that.
Right. I don't want people to lose a vote without a choice as well.
Right.
That was not something we voted on. All right. What's the other housekeeping we need to talk about? So 49 obviously will be back here for the fall. There'll be 50 information and prep that I will chime in on whenever that comes out, like the cast next week.
You're doing your exit interviews tomorrow.
I will have all of the final 5 tomorrow, talking to them. If you have any questions that you want to throw at me for them, please feel free to do so. We forgot to mention that Amazing Race is back in the fall as well. So
yeah, that's right.
Our fall is Survivor and Amazing Race. We do have Destination X starting next week. If you haven't heard us mention that yet, that's a new show on NBC and Peacock that we will be covering and having exit interviews as well. No Big Brother for us this summer, but obviously Big Brother is back if you're going to watch that. What else were we supposed to talk about? There's always things when I click end stream and I'm like,
I didn't talk about this.
I didn't talk about that. Please follow me on TikTok. I'm new over there.
Yes.
Having fun over there. Was that it?
I think so. I don't remember that you told me anything else before we started streaming.
X, Survivor 50, Survivor 49,
exit
Amazing
interviews.
Race, exit interviews. Okay, I don't know. You know where we are. We're here. Please make sure you're still getting your notifications. You guys that stuck with us all season long, love it. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys being here live in the chat.
It really is lovely. And we also love those of you who watch a little bit later. So leave us a comment and tell us how you feel about Kyle winning. Who was your preseason winner pick? Did you get it right like I did? Were you close but not quite there like Sarah? What other questions do you think Camilla would have won if she were sitting in the final 3 next to Kyle, as Star alleges?
Yeah. And if you were a little bored, did the end game bring you back?
Yeah. And who from this cast would you maybe want to see back for 50?
For 50.
Answer us that.
Yeah. Any thoughts on 50? Oh, yeah. And at some point, Australia versus the World will air. And I will definitely be covering that with Chantel and maybe some David as well. Yep. Yay. All right, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya. Bye.